Om Vang me manasi pratisthita mano me vachi pratishthitam aviravirma edhi vedasyam ani stha shrutam me ma prahasihi anena dhitena horatran Samdadhami Ritam Vadishyami Satyam Vadishyami Tanmamavatu Tadvaktaramavatu Avatu Mam Avatu Vaktaram Avatu Vaktaram Om Shanti Shanti, Shanti. Today, when I was reciting this mantra before, also in the morning, I was thinking that without these words, without the Vedic words, without the Vedic mantras, our life, if suppose we had no mantras altogether, we had no scriptures, Shruti, we would have our life, we would live life without speaking anything of the divine Savitar or the flame rising from below, calling to the divine forces to come down. We would just live like everyone else, like animals. We will eat, hunt, fulfill our needs, speak only that what we see immediately. And we would never address things which we do not see or do not immediately perceive. Yeah? So we would not conceptualize things. Conceptualization would not be possible without the word. Without the word speaking of myth. It's quite interesting that Gebser proposes that mythical structure is introducing the word for the first time. The word as the myth, as the beginning of creation, as the origin, which we do not see. We do not know anything about it in our outer living. So I was thinking, kind of not thinking, but sensing the life without the word. What a simple life it could be. Eating, procreating, fighting for survival, dying, being born, and so on and so forth. You know, all the senses satisfied. And no troubles of thinking or trying to make something else. And then I thought, it's not possible. It would not be possible to live like this because there is a force inbuilt which is wanting to build some other world out of this world. Yeah? It's not, and that force was revealed to us as the word, as the speech, as the means to manifest something which is not yet there, to communicate something which is not yet communicable. So it kind of reaches out, that consciousness which is beyond, reaches out through the word to the surface of our living and builds up its own reality. Kind of these thoughts are coming. Aritam vadishyami. I shall speak the dynamic truth, truth in the becoming. Satyam vadishyami. I shall express the truth which is, yeah? That which is beyond. So the word carries this power of expression of consciousness which is not yet here. And that makes us very different beings. It hastens, it speeds up the whole evolution of consciousness. Yeah? Without the word, we would go very slow. In the natural way, we would progress. And we most probably we will get stuck somewhere. We would get stuck on some level of species, as other animals got stuck. They don't evolve anymore so fast. They exhausted their possibilities within a particular body. But the word makes it possible. It makes possible to manifest something which is not yet manifested, which is also a problem because it allows us to lie quite a lot. We can speak something which is not there. Yeah? All right, now I will stop with this mantra. So we looked into this Trihantariksham Savita Mahitvana, Tri Rajansi, Paribhuh Tri Nirojana, Tisrodivah Prathivih Tisra Invati, Tribhih Vrataikha Bhino Rakshatit Mana. So this triple worlds upon triple worlds. Our triple physicality with triple vitality upon it, with triple mentality, with triple overmental realms, rojanas, and triple supermind beyond, which is manifesting all the triplicities, and the triple transcendental Satchitananda, which is defining our way of being. That means being consciousness bliss. And now, number 6. Brihat Sumnach Prasavita Niveshano Jagatach Sthatuch Ubhayasya Yovashi Sanodevach Savita Sharma Yachatu Asmekshayaya Trivarutham Anhasach. The Father is He, Prasavita. Interesting, Prasavita would be the one who brings to manifested world, into time and space, something which is beyond. And that's why Savitri is his daughter, the divine word, the power of the divine word which manifests the divine in consciousness here first. So he is the Father, Prasavita, who creates, whose perfect thought is in the vast, Brihat Sumnach. Sumnach is that transcendental or supramental consciousness. Brihat is vast. He is of that consciousness. We can see Brihat Sumnach. The stress is on the second syllable, which tells us that this is Bahuvrihi compound. He of the mind of the vastness. Niveshanach, who introduces and settles all in this manifestation. We use this word very often. Niveshani is Ratri, Niveshanach is Savitar. Jagatach Sthatu Hubhayasya Yovashi, who is Vashi, who is the Lord of both, of Jagatach, of the one who moves, and on the one who is steady, Sthatuch, Sthatri. Of the one who stays and on the one who moves, he is the Lord of both. The Lord of both that moves and moves not. May the God Savitar grant us protection from the narrowness, Anghasach, from the narrowness. Yachatu Sharma. Sharma is protection. Sri Aurobindo sometimes translates it as the blissful state of peace. May He give us Yachatu, or creates for us, give us Sharman, protection from the narrowness, Anghasach, with his triple coverings, Trivarutham, to dwell in us. Asme kshayaya. Kshaya is used in the, it's from root kshi, to dwell. From here we have kshetra, if you remember the word kshetram, is actually from root kshi, to dwell. It's some kind of flat surface on which you can be. So for this kshaya, for this location in us, asme, trivarutham, the triple protection, from anhas, he should create or give us the coverage, sharma yachatu. Why it is triple protection is interesting, because we have to be protected from the abyss, from the narrowness, from the amhas, in three different worlds, in three different locations, in our physical, vital, and mental realms. And he has, by being in us, he will give us that coverage. Trivarutham, it's a Vedic word. I didn't put it here, but it's from vri, to cover. Trivri, to cover triple. Triple coverage he should give us. And then the last word of this hymn. Agan devach ritubhich vardhatu kshayam. Again, kshayam. Dadhatu nach savita suprajam isham. Sanach kshapabhich abhich cha jinvatu. Prajavantam raimasme. Sam invatu. Again, asme, in us. Arriving with his powers, which are arranging all the sacrificial seasons. Ritubhich. Arriving, agan, coming down to us. Oh, the God with his ritus. Devach ritubhich. Vardhatu kshayam. He should make stronger. Vardhatu, increase in power our dwelling place, our home, kshayam. Dadhatunach, he should establish for us, or in us, asme, our true impulsion of perfect creation, suprajam isham. Isham is impulsion, suprajam, of perfect progeny, literally, of perfect creation forward. The impulse of perfect creation forward, he should establish within us. Sanach kshapabhich ahabhich chajinvatu, and he, Savitar, should establish in us our true impulsion for, and yes, and he should urge us nights and days. Kshapabhich ahabhich, by nights and days, jinvatu, should urge, compel us forward. Sanach kshapabhich ahabhich cha jinvatu, excite us. Prajavantam raim asme, sam invatu, and he should activate within us the wealth which is producing, which has that impulse to generate life forward. This is something very interesting, not in the wordings of how they speak about it, but in the presumption what they mean to say, or what they see the world as without these things. So the world without this impulse towards the future, generating the life force, is actually the world of static and non-dynamic, non-becoming existence. Yeah? But Savitar is compelling us He's exciting us or even urging us, days and by nights to move forward in this projection of life forward, this wealth. He should establish in us a wealth which is always looking forward and generating life forward. This is interesting, kind of in terms of assumption or presumption, let us say. They presume the world to be, without this force, to be very different, static, and a non-evolutionary world, typal world. In this typal world, without Savitar, nothing would move forward. There would be no evolution. Savitar is the Lord of evolution. He establishes in us this urge to move forward, to project life forward. Makes sense? What is interesting is not only what he does, but what, if he is not there, what will happen to the world. That is also an interesting point. All right, this is the whole hymn of the Savitar by Vamadeva Gautama from the 53. He has two hymns to Savitar, and the second one is 54 next to it, which is also very interesting. Here it is. And it is in Jagati now. That was in Trishtup. Only 6 verses. I will start this hymn, okay, today.
Vladimir, I had a quick question.
Yes.
And the question is that, I don't know even if it's relevant, but it came to the mind. You're talking about this urge, this impulse to move forward as brought by Savitar. But today, when we look around, we see lots of people whose lives are just going in circles. And they are caught in a state of, if they're stressed or panicked or suffering from some condition, then they just remain frozen in that state. Does that mean that Savitar is not functioning or their life is dormant? I don't know. I mean, what is this urge that pushes us forward? How do we recognize it? In all our different, if you look around, more and more people, have so much going on in their life, which has just frozen them in that state.
I was thinking of how to really justify this idea of urge when there is no urge, as it were.
Yes.
But there is urge still. Even those who are in circles, what do they want really? They want to get
out of that circle. They want to get out of that circle.
Right, and that is urge. Yeah? And people who cannot continue, for example, I remember one lady in the health center in Auroville, a very old lady from the village came, and she was all the time saying, in her language, Bhagavan, take me, I don't want to stay anymore. She is very weak, old woman. So even this, to get out, to get out into a new situation, even death is urge. So that's what is interesting, because kshapabi, chahabi, with our light times and our dark times, he's urging us forward. By both, by nights and days, by deaths and births, he is urging us forward. Even death is urging forward. It cannot be otherwise, yeah? Because why should we want death? I just was thinking when you said this, and didn't think about this before, that even death is urging forward. Because you want to get rid of something which is impossible to deal with. Why we actually disconnect from life, why we have that reincarnation. Yes, because we cannot move forward anymore with that what we got. So we need to reboot the system, restart. That's why we have pralayas. We come to the end of when we exhausted all the possibilities of moving forward. And now we have to recapture, rethink our engagement. Yeah, we have to find a new force, new plan, new engagement with the creation to move forward. Yeah? And that's most probably how it is being said, kshapabhi by kshapas and ahar. So the kshapa is the night and ahan is the day. By the nights and days, he is compelling, urging us to move forward.
Thank you.
I know this is a perfect question. Why? Where is that urge in that non-urging situation? Yeah? There is there. Stagnation is also a way of, making you move forward. You are stagnating and you feel that you go down. And this feeling that you go down is actually an urge to move forward. In stagnation, people are not happy. Yeah? They suffer.
So suffering is an urge.
Yes. Suffocation is an urge. Suffering is an urge. In the Christian tradition, it was something like, our mother speaks about this, when they, introduce you or baptize you in the waters, they put you under the water, and then I want to breathe. If you want the divine more than breath, then you will realize the divine. The suffocation is the way to urge you, because there is someone in us, and that is Savitar, who will never permit us to be satisfied with typal existence. Death helps us not. It will not help us to get out of this urge. Urge will continue even then. So this is the idea you brought with your question. Why in that place there is as if no urge. There is urge, always. We cannot get out of that situation, even if we are stagnating. Stagnation is also piling up that urge, that force to break through. Yes? And one day you just break through. All right, great, thank you. Let us look into this hymn. Abhut devach savita vandio nunach idanim ahana upavachiyon ribhich vioratna bhajati manavebhyach shreshtham no atra dravinam yatha dadhat devebhyo viprathamam yajniyebhyach amritatvam suvasi bhagam uttamam ad iddamanam savitar vi urnshe anuchina jivita manushe biyach. Let us start. Abhut devach savita vandiyo nunach. The god Savitar became for us worthy of adoration. That's why, because he is the urging force in us. Now, before the day, he should be called upon by man. So in that night, before the day, in the twilight, he has to be invoked. The time of the Savitar is after the dawn, before the disk is visible. Now, before the day, he should be called upon by man. Upavachiyach, nribhich. Interesting, by man here, but it is nri. Nri word nara is used in a sense as the heroic power of the soul. By heroic souls, he should be invoked, called upon before the day. He brings always a day. As he is one, the one who distributes the jewels to man, or the 7 jewels usually. Thus he should establish the best wealth for us here. Let us go word by word. Abhut, he was, Devach, or he became the god Savitar Vandiach. He became the one worthy of adoration or worthy of Vande Mataram. It's root Vand. I adore. Vandiach, to be adored. He became the one who is to be adored by us. Nach. Indeed, nu. Idanim ahna. And now, in this moment of time, before the day ahnach, upavachiach, he is to be proclaimed, expressed, called upon by the heroic souls, Naribhich. Viyoratnani bhajati mana ratna bhajati mana vebhiach. The one who is bhajati, who is sharing his ratnas, his jewels, with the mental beings, who gives his jewels, assigns his jewels as shares to the manavas, to the people of the Manu clan. Manu is the mental being formation. Why this mental is so important, we just spoke about this at the beginning, that this conceptualization comes with the word. The mind and the word, they come together. Shreshtham no atra dravinam yathadadhat. As he establishes for us the best portion of delight, or the best wealth, dravinam. Here I write some observations or some thoughts on this verse. The second half of this verse literally says, the one who gives the jewels for the people, as he establishes, or established also possible, thus the best thing for us here, in the manner how he really establishes the best for us here, because it is that urge or projection into the constant recreation of us in a new and more divine manner, diviner and diviner manner. That's why it is the best. What is striking here is, in this statement, is a subtle connection between receiving the wealth from Savitar, his unmixed delight of things, and their proper and true positioning and relations for oneself, and the effect it has on all others, and vice versa. So there is not only the wealth which I received and others didn't, it is I received the wealth and others received it at the same time, and others received and I received it at the same time. This is how he distributes his wealth. It seems that it is the essential characteristic of the dynamic truth, rhythm. For once it is received by one person, it has an effect on all other people and their relations. It puts in order a wider range of things than those which constitute a separate life. There is no separate life here. And this is the meaning of the sacrifice. Personal salvation, even if it will be effectuated by this process, is not the central focus here, but the force itself which changes all. Becoming a center of this force, one may gain personal liberation, as Sri Aurobindo explains it to Pavitra. I will come to it in a minute. But it is not the central focus and meaning of its working. it effectuates changes all over in manifestation, and the personal gains simply fall out of focus. For it is in the very nature of this force to sustain all and to manage the growth of all. When we are focused on this greater, grander project, yes, so which can bring the salvation and change of all, our personal gains fall out of our focus. We are no more concerned with ourselves. This is a bigger scheme of things. We are in the nature of this constant nature of working. Nature is working to satisfy greater aims of Purusha. And once we feel it in ourselves, we have a totally different consciousness. We are not thinking about ourselves, our salvation, our gains, our progress, our own progress. Yeah? And this is a very different consciousness. I think we can find it in Sri Aurobindo, and especially the mother. Yeah? Mother never thinks about herself. She thinks about what the divine wants. Yeah? What you want. Let me be what you want me to be. Let me do what you want me to do. Let me know what you want me to know. I don't want to know anything else but what you want. This is a bigger scheme of things. And there one loses the interest in oneself as a separate being. It's interesting. This is the Vedic scheme of things. I mentioned here that what Sri Aurobindo explains to Pavitra is asking him the same question, you know. Pavitra came to him and Sri Aurobindo told him that he may stay with him and start these meditations with him. He met with Sri Aurobindo twice a week, or sometimes even more often, to discuss his progress in meditation. And he opened up to the higher force, and force descended upon him. And he was kind of surprised that this force felt so physically in his being. It was physical perception, or it was tangible. Yeah? And he asked him, is it really a spiritual force? It feels totally physical. And he says, yes, don't worry, it's a spiritual force. And then he asks him, when I will become mukta, when I will become free from oneself and see myself as I see others? That was his question. And Sri Aurobindo says, do not worry, this will happen, but it is not important anymore because the force descended upon. And this is something to think of. The mukti itself is not important anymore because the force, the divine Shakti, is already working in the system. So this is this grand vision of the Veda. Yeah? You concern yourself with yourself anymore once this force starts working through you. Because then you're working for the divine, and the divine is your concern, and nothing else. All right, most probably I will stop here if there's much to discuss. Or shall I take one more? Devebhyo hi prathamam yajniyebhyah amritatvam suvasi bhagam uttamam ad iddamanam savitar viurnushe anuchina jivita manushe bhyah. For you indeed first created, because you indeed first create a supreme portion of delight and immortality for the gods. worthy of sacrifice. Interesting, this worthy of sacrifice is important. We will come to it in a minute. And then you open up to men their portion of delight, or Savitar, which they may experience in their successive lives. So first he opens up this delight, immortality to the gods, establishes for them, and then for the souls. Yeah? These heroic souls of men. There is a succession. Interestingly, Mother describes the creation in the same manner. The gods were created first, after the asuras fell, or the first emanations fell into their opposite. Then the gods were created, second stage, to really precipitate that fall and to bring back the fallen emanations back to their self-awareness. But the gods were scared to plunge into that infinite darkness. They said, no, we don't go there, so sorry. So they stayed in their own plane. This was second creation. And the third, then the Divine Mother looked deep into the divine and found the force capable of plunging into the darkness, greater consciousness, greater power, greater bliss, greater truth, which was capable of plunging into that inconscient. And that was the heroic souls of man, according to the Veda. Yeah? These Nri, we are these heroic souls who took onto ourselves this darkness and to build out of it the divine creation. So the gods were first, yes, so to say. So he established for them the portion of delight, so to say, in vain, because they didn't do the job. And then for this portion of delight was given to man. In their successive lives, anuchitani jivitani. Very interesting. So reincarnation is confirmed in the Rigveda, though some people say there was no reincarnation concern in the Veda. There was. It was taken for granted because we continue by days and nights, by births and deaths, our journey. And so what I wanted to say is there's the gods worthy of sacrifice, yajniyebhyach devebhyach. For the gods which are not partaking in the sacrifice, and the gods who are not answering to the call of the soul, we are calling to these gods to help us in our journey because they speed up. They bring the light and the consciousness and the power the soul needs to reach to the surface. So these gods are useful, though they didn't plunge into the darkness, but they are brought down by the flame, by Agni, by the divine will in nature. They are constantly brought down to work here and to make the sacrifice possible. So, but only those gods who are yajnebhyach, and not those which are not, because there are many gods, and there are those who are not partaking in this process of evolution, who are not answering to the call of the flame or to the souls here. So here it is mentioned, this word, which actually highlights that idea of the rishi knowing that the gods, only those gods who are partaking in the sacrifice, for them he established this bhagam uttamam, the perfect or the highest portion of delight, immortal portion of delight, the highest, because they will be building here the divine manifestation in time and space.
Vladimir,
Hmm.
that means when we are talking about the gods, then mostly people worship the vital gods. So these vital gods are not really capable of giving the immortality. I mean, they're not really participating in the sacrifice, that means, so it's useless praying to them.
Well, if you mean vital gods, which are kind of responding to our vital needs, rather,
Yeah, yeah,
then yes, and not to the soul, but to our egoistic needs, vital needs. It's an
yeah.
exchange between lower, smaller gods and smaller needs of egoistic needs of man. Yes. It's not
Hmm.
the soul calling to the higher forces to reach to the surface. It's more egoistic. It's more in within the nature, so to say, very small. As Mother says, your best and your worst, if you take on the scale, is very small scale. So, because this ego is very small, very narrow. I want this little ice cream here, and a little this, a little taste there, a little, comfort here, a little money there, and then I will be happy. Yeah? This is, truly speaking, not a creation. This is not this grand vision, where you forget about yourself. This small world, narrow world with narrow, small gods, responding to your small needs. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
And there are many such creatures,
yeah,
semi-gods, demigods, you name it.
yes, yes.
And not gods also. There are
Yeah.
Paishachas, Rakshasas, and
Mm,
so on. And they're also responding. They're also
mm,
giving you a boost.
mm,
Sometimes even a lot of wealth and power and fame and this and that. There's many such creatures in the world today. If you look around,
mhm,
you find them. They are all supported by those powers. Hitler himself was supported by Asura, by Asura of falsehood. It's not a joke to be a Vibhuti of Asura of falsehood. It's a huge load, yeah? A huge responsibility to do his work and his bidding on earth. So there are creatures who are trying to possess human souls and to work through them their own, interests. Great. I will stop here.
Vladimir, just one question.
Yeah.
That or can you go back to that verse?
Right.
Uh,
Okay. 1 second.
the one we were just doing.
Disappeared everything. Wait a minute.
Oops.
Let me do projection. I just don't know. They can't manage this new, newly made.
No, I was just asking it starts with Ad Id Damanam uh,
Huh?
Savitar. Can you explain the first six words word by word? That's what I just wanted. The
This one
one
or
the
second verse?
no, the second one.
Devebhyah hi
No,
pratham
the second line.
ad idamanam savitar viurnushe. Yes, I didn't translate it most probably, yes. And then you open up to man their portion of delight. It is the um, open, viurnushe, yes, you open.
Okay,
It's a vri root in the old-fashioned urnu. From here you have urnu as the spreading of the spider net. Yeah, do you have that
okay.
word urnu in Hindi or Bengali?
No,
No, you should have, because this is the spreading, or yeah, viurnu, to spread. Viurnushe, you spread, o Savitar, damanam, ad id, from then ad, it's Vedic
okay,
word, tasmat, yeah, classical Sanskrit. Then you
okay,
open up to men their portion of delight,
okay,
which they may experience in their successive lives.
okay. Thank you. Got it. I just wanted to know.
Right. Damanam, interesting word here. I put it here. Yeah, Daman. a giver, donor, Rigveda only, or giving or a gift. And then you open the giving or Savitar, yeah, to the successive lives for man. Only then, after the gods. After the gods which are here, which will be partaking in the sacrifice, which will be responding to the call of the soul. All right, any more thoughts, sharings, ideas?
I have a question. This term, the seven jewels or the jewels, is this an image that occurs frequently in the Veda? Could you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, well, we can immediately understand that these will be realizations, the divine realizations on every plane of existence, yes? There will be certain, because the wealth, jewel, ratna, raich, radhas, all these words with ra starting, interesting. Ra has something to do with shining, yeah, in general, omitting or emitting light, casting light out, emanating. Maybe even this god Ra, the lord of the sun, in Egyptian tradition also has something to do with this. From here we have Rajas. Rajas is another word, Rajati. Yeah? Rajati means shining. Yeah? From here Raja, the king. From here Rajas, the Rajas Gunam. All these flaming, shining with Ra in its basis.
Would the English word have something to do with that too? Like the seven rays?
Rays, radiation, all this, it's an Indo-European root, yeah, which is always has something to do with red, yeah, red, radiation, yeah, all of these words will carry that major significance of the root, Ra. Even Rati, we have the word in classical Sanskrit which means barking. Interesting, barking. If you think about it, it has something to do with emitting, casting sound or casting light. It will be always emanating something, yeah? Vibrating out, flaming out. From here we have Rigveda, Rik, Arka. From here also, Arka is the sun, or the word, or the hymn. The hymn, the word, the sun, the flame, in the same word. Yeah? Flaming word, if you will. So you see how they thought. They are thinking in more general terms, like casting out, emanating. And what will be emanated? Either the sound or the light, but it will be reaching out from you as a source. So that is the sign of the transformed substance, yes? Substance which already, or the being which is casting the consciousness or emanates a new consciousness, a true consciousness. Yes? So the wealth is seen in the Veda as the transformed being, transformed by consciousness. It is that what we want to achieve. If you look at gold or any other jewelry, yeah, all those precious stones, you will see that they are used in the same way, in the occult way, to highlight some achievement, yeah? Wealth. What does it mean, wealth, really? That means it is precious. My precious, you remember the ring of the Lord of the Rings? And that precious means it has a power, the substance has a power, the plenitude of consciousness. It can be by itself very actively engaged. It can emanate consciousness. It can interact. So this kind of embodiment of consciousness is seen in the gold, in the precious stones, and that's why we have the crown, why people have a crown, golden crown. We spoke about this before, with jewels and so on, because this is the sign of the realization. Yeah? In the vital world, it is seen as realized being. Why they put also ornamentation here on the plexus solaris, there is always some kind of big shining, because it in the vital world, this gold and diamonds are seen as realized souls. So it's interesting. It's a sign of power or realization. It's still here. We can't really even gold we treat as the sign of the pure substance. Yeah, pure in what sense? Spiritualized. And it's interesting because gold is not rusting. Yeah, it can stay forever. The metal is not being spoiled by time. That's why it was chosen as the symbol of this spiritual substance. So it's all connected in the bigger picture. If we start analyzing, we will find many interesting insights. That's why India loves gold so much. Yeah. Gold is the major thing. You can be totally poor from the village, eat only rice, but you must have some gold. And quite a lot, actually. And they never sell gold, they keep it for themselves. That's why India cannot be conquered economically by US, because there's too much gold there in India. Yeah, it's a security of some kind. Interesting. And how much was taken from India, nobody knows. British became very rich because of India, and they robbed everything. They brought all the diamonds. You know, they went to India to find the diamonds. They wanted diamonds from India. Even France. It's quite interesting that the Madame de Pompadour wanted to have diamonds, and she sent the shipment to India, and they came and they established Pondicherry to get diamonds out of India. And then later, mother came there. So Madame de Pompadour did the work for the mother to stay there. There's some connection always. And Sri Aurobindo found his refuge there. It's actually the mother who created for him refuge in the future.
Actually, the diamond mines are in South India.
Mm.
That's why they all landed in the South first,
Interesting,
both the
yeah.
British and the French.
Of course, Rajiv Malhotra says that they were interested in diamonds, but they were taking the steel which was produced in Chennai, of high quality steel, which in the West they couldn't produce. It was some kind of alchemy process which was creating this super steel. And even now, this bridge in London Bridge has the pieces, the essential pieces in the bridge are from Chennai, from Madras. That steel is still unbreakable. This is something interesting to know. That not only diamonds, but many more things. All right, any more thoughts? On Savitar and the life free from egoistic consideration. What a relief it could be, yes, to live for all and by all. This is true freedom. This is not just mukti, that you got rid of nature. You got rid of egoism, and finally you can live.
Vladimir, I had one question. So, when he is talking about the three protecting garments, I assume he is talking about physical, mental, vital, the protections given to three layers. Is that an
I
okay
think
thinking?
so. I think so also. There are other hymns where, for example, Agastya Rishi has hymns to heaven and earth. And he asks heaven and earth, protect us, human beings, souls, from Abhava. Abhava is the abyss of the inconscience. Protect us. So this shell, so to say, maybe this is Trivarutha, yeah? At least two Varutha, heaven and earth, from up and down. This egg, golden egg. But there is one more Varutha, is in the middle, yeah? For the vital world also. And these are this is the triple protection. The shell in which we are as souls. We need a protection. And our protection is a mental being and the physical being on both sides. And in the middle, there must be something else which is protecting us. Yeah? And that is most probably Trivarutha, triple protection. Otherwise, we will be exposed to the inconscient forces and all these rakshasas. And this is what happens to people who come out of the body and who open up their shells. Too often happens, yes, and do not come back totally to their body. For example, they exteriorized, and then they came into the body partially. So what they have, they see those worlds, the worlds of other creatures and forces, and they are very scared, and they become a little bit mentally disturbed because their vital body didn't settle totally in the physical, didn't get the protection, didn't get into the shell, so to say, where we are exposed to the forces of all kinds of forces, lower, higher, mixed, and especially lower forces are very dangerous. That's why it's not recommended to do Kundalini yoga, because you may not open up totally Kundalini and open only lower levels, and then you will be exposed to those forces on lower levels, and they may come in and disturb you. And there are many such cases. So this Trivarutham is somewhat important, to keep us in the shell by the divine protection and grace. Yeah, no more? Okay, and then I will close with mantra. Om Vang Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. I'm giggling inside doing this mantra because I think about myself like I'm happy with my hymns, laughing to my own jokes and so on. Some kind of exciting myself and happy with this excitement. It's like my father was joking and laughing from his jokes. Something of the kind, and I kind of remembered him and thought, well, you just have to witness all this, this funny thing. No, nothing to say. Crazy guy talking to himself and happy with it. And using something and trying to engage you, but you're so serious looking at him like, what is going on? Right. That's why I was giggling. Okay, I will try to be more responsible. Not to be that.
Do not. We are the
That,
lucky ones.
that was even funnier, that last statement.
I'm serious. It's a serious matter. Great. Okay, so thank you and see you then next time. Yeah, namaste.